This is Apollo Control. Less than a minute away from acquisition of signal for Apollo 16. We'll stand by here for the first words from the crew and the burn report. Houston, Fleet 16 has arrived.
Roger 16, copy you loud and clear.
I've got a question. What do you think is the more difficult to believe? That extraterrestrial life truly exists? Or the notion that something that big could actually be kept from us? I think many would say the latter. And think about it. We're talking about a lot of people keeping mostly quiet for a lot of years. Seems far-fetched. I know, I agree. But on the other hand, do you really think the scores of inexplicable aircraft, aka UFOs, that are getting caught on cell phones and uploaded daily are all fake? And that the claims of a NASA cover-up, many coming from former employees and astronauts themselves, are all rooted in lies? Well, that's unlikely as well. It's like this mind-jarring headache maker that, well, it can just be too much to think about. Ah, what a beautifully designed deterrent. The year, 1972. The Apollo 16 crew, consisting of Commander John Young, Lunar Module Pilot Charles Duke, and Command Module Pilot Ken Mattingly, passed over the far side of the moon before landing on the near side of the lunar surface. The mission snagged enough 70mm images to piece together the clearest composite image of the far side of the moon up to that point. Now, this is the side of the moon we never see from Earth because as the moon orbits the Earth, it rotates at just the right speed to keep that side facing away from us. This is what we call tidal lock. Now, the first place people usually look for suspicious activity in images like this is where? The surface, in and around the craters and such, right? Well, we're a little different here, okay? So, we're not starting there. We're starting here, in the space around the moon. Mostly expecting, you hear me? Expecting this area to have been completely blacked out by the image doctors. We see that quite often in modern digital planetary imagery. They'll just wipe these areas black because, well, who cares, right? Well, I care. And guess what? We got lucky. Although it's cropped pretty tight, the original space around the moon appears to be intact. And so you can't help but notice this. Is this a smudge on the original film? It's hard to tell, so we worked it over with exposure and contrast and got this. Okay, though it's still hard to identify, it does at least now take on more of a definitive shape. At this point, I'm on the fence as to whether it's an artifact on the film or some type of thing in space that was actually captured on the film. So let's move down here where we find something faint. In similar fashion as above, we add exposure and contrast and, well, there you have it. The first reaction I usually get from someone I show this is followed by, how could they miss that? Easy. They didn't see it. Can you see it? I think it was simply overlooked. Remember, this was 1972. They were working with actual film, not digital imagery. It was a lot more trouble back then to actually hide things in photographs. They had to create transparent overlays that masked out areas that might, according to a former NASA illustrator, confuse people. Then, with the overlays in place, they would re-photograph the image. My guess is they didn't see anything here that would be a threat.